Hey, this is Daniel Murphy here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hope you guys are doing well. This video is going to be about what you need to expect or the questions you should be asking your agent when you're about to buy resort properties. Hopefully a lot of this will explain most of your questions, but again, these are things you need to get in contact with your agent before you start purchasing property. You're looking at purchasing rental property or resort property to ask them these very pertinent questions that you need to know prior to buying. The first thing we're going to cover is HOA fees. I get often asked by my clients, what are HOA fees and really what do they cover? Well, HOA fees are what you pay into an association when you own property where there are common areas or you own property in common with other homeowners there. Most of these are covered in the condos, and let's stick to the condo side of our market. The first thing that the HOA fee covers is all of your common maintenance areas. So landscaping, the elevators if you have them, pool areas that need to be cleaned and maintained will be covered in those HOA fees. If you have a fitness center on site, it's going to be covered in that, the cleaning and the maintenance of those, the equipment in the area. So a big part of what you pay for is just all of the common areas that you share with the other homeowners. The second thing that it includes, and it's not 100%, but in most cases, the building insurance is included in that HOA fee. So that's a cost. If you owned a home, you would have to pay insurance on your property. This is included in that HOA fee. Some buildings do not include it. However, you are assessed quarterly or biannually for that fee. It'll be a separate assessment. But HOA fees, for the most part, do include that building insurance. And the last thing that they really cover that you need to know about is the utilities. Most of your utilities for the building, or I'm sorry, for the actual property are included in that HOA fee. Water, sewer, trash pickup, cable is included, and in some cases the interior electric and your phone is included as well. Again, that's for inside the property. All of the common utilities are included as well, but inside your unit, most utilities will be included. So again, if you have a specific question about a certain property that you're looking at, find out what they do or do not include. The second thing when we're talking about insurance, we already covered building insurance being included in that fee. And the building insurance is going to be what covers you if you have fire in the building or a flood or whatever, a disaster, a hurricane. What else you need is an HO6 policy. Now the HO6 policy is what covers your contents and liability. Specifically, if you're going to rent these properties, those policies can run anywhere from $300 to $800 a year, some a little bit higher, and it really depends on how much contents you have to cover and what the cost of those contents are. So again, your building insurance is included mostly in the HOA fees. If not, you'll get billed separately. However, you do need to purchase an HO6 policy, specifically if you have a mortgage on the property. The third thing we get asked often is rental income. How does rental income work? Can I make money on these properties, or at least can I rent them out and make money on these properties? And the answer is yeah. A lot of my clients, most of them wind up renting their properties out when they're not here. We have a very active rental season. It runs from March through about the end of September. However, it is a year-round market here in Myrtle Beach now. You have golfers coming in the spring and fall, and you have our snowbirds who come here during the winter. So it is a full year. However, I generally tell people March through about September, early October is the best part. When you do rent your property, you do have some options on how that happens. The most common way in our bigger resorts is people put them with the on-site rental company. And if you stayed in any of the bigger resorts here, like a Caribbean resort or in a Vista resort on the north end, you're probably aware that these are set up a lot like a hotel. When you come in, you check in at a front desk. There's daily maid service, just like you'd have at a hotel. You can call down to the front desk and get answers, food delivered. So when you're dealing with on-site rental companies, again, that's the most common way people do them. You're looking at a rental split of anywhere from 35% up to about 50% is the highest I've seen. So gross rental revenue comes in if you do at a Caribbean one bedroom, if you do $30,000 a year in gross revenue, you're going to get a percentage of that. At the Caribbean, you do keep 60%. So just be cautious when you're looking at these numbers. It's not really the gross number you're worried about, it's the net number. How much do you make? The second way you can rent these properties, if you don't like the on-site, is use an off-site company. Now their rental splits are much less, but again, remember as I just said, You want to be more concerned about the net revenue not that you take home, not the gross revenue. So although the offsite companies do take less of the percentage, in many cases what I've seen, they cannot gross enough to make up the difference between the on-sites can do. So just, ask your agent. They should know these buildings well enough to give you an idea of what the on-site rental looks like and what you could potentially expect from an off-site rental. The last way that you can really rent these properties is VRBO or HomeAway, and that's basically you managing the rental side yourself. Now, I can tell you in many cases, the clients that I have that use VRBO and HomeAway and do these rentals themselves, they do very, very well. However, you just have to understand that this is a part-time job. You're going to have to be on the internet a lot, booking, making sure, answering people when they call in or when they email you about reservations. You're going to have to manage some sort of housekeeping staff, and generally it's pretty well maintained. They know when to go in and go out. They check your rental schedule, but you do have to stay on top of that if you want to do well. But again, they can. So you have on-site, you have off-site, you have VRBO, HomeAway, or just doing it yourself. The last thing I get asked often, and it's ever changing. So the video that I'm telling you today may change next week. But how do you finance these properties, or is there any financing available? The first aspect of financing properties here, resort properties, is whether or not the property is a condotel, or is it, or will the bank see this as a condo? If it's a condotel, and most of the properties you would purchase here are going to be called condotels, there is no big financing available. You don't have large lenders like a Wachovia, Bank of America. You can't go to Chase or RBC and get a loan for a condotel. However, there are banks here locally that will finance these in-house. They underwrite the loans in-house, and they don't have to go through Fannie or Freddie, who will not purchase the loan. So there are some stipulations with that, how much money they want to be able to finance. You generally have to pay a little bit more on the front end to get these loans, and they're generally ARMs, 3, 5, 7-year ARMs. But there is financing available, and it's still very good right now. Warrantable condos are a different story. If Fannie and Freddie will buy these loans, if they're warrantable, then you can get a 30-year fixed note just like you would on a house, as long as it's not considered investment property. If it's a second home, you can do it. And even if you're buying this as a primary residence, if it's still deemed a condotel, you're not going to be able to get the 30-year conventional financing. So just keep that in mind as well. And so the big words that you want to look at are condotel. Is the property you're looking at considered a condotel? And your agent should be able to talk to one of our local lenders here and see if it's on their approved list or not. And the big thing too is second home and investment. Second home rates, we can get you that all the time. And all that means is you don't already own property here in the Myrtle Beach area. So one is, what are HOA fees and what do they cover? Make sure you're asking your agent, what are these HOA fees and what can I expect them to cover in this resort or this property that I'm looking at? The second thing is insurance. I know I need a second insurance policy, an HO6 policy. Can you put me in touch with one of the lenders who will do that? The third thing is rental income. How much rental income can I expect, or what have they historically done in the past? And what is the rental split with the agency that's handling most of them, or with an offsite? And the third thing is financing. Talk to them before you get in the process. I just had an agent I worked with here recently, a young guy in the business. He had 3 Canadians he was so excited about. He was about to sell them condotels, and I told him there was no financing available for condotels for Canadians. So make sure you know if you have financing options available for you. Again, my name is Daniel Murphy. You can reach me anytime, 843-457-8595, or shoot me an email at 1danielmurphy@gmail.com. Thanks so much.